Welcome back to Race Night. Joaquin in our studios in Los Angeles. We are in our fourth and final week of our TVG State Wars tournament. And last Saturday at Gulfstream Park, they had a mandatory payout in the Rainbow Pick 6, which got to a final pool of over $15 million. And if you had 6 of 6, you took home just over $89,000. One of those TVG account holders and players that did have 6 of 6 joins me on the line right now. And that is Rob Rosette, who is representing Team California in our TVG State Wars tournament. Robbie, first of all, congratulations, and thanks for joining us here on TVG.
Well, thank you very much. I feel very fortunate to have hit that pick 6.
Are you normally a pick 6 player, or were you just playing the pick 6 because of the big mandatory payout?
Actually, I'm not a regular pick 6 player. I usually only bet other horizontal wagers like pick 4s and pick 5s, but I look for those certain ingredients, and on Saturday, we really had the perfect recipe for a huge, huge payday. To wit, you had a large carryover of over $4 million. I mean, that definitely got everybody's attention, I think. Mm-hmm. The second thing is that, is pretty rare, is you had a mandatory payout. Thank you to Gulfstream management for allowing that. Then, the third thing, which is probably most important with regard to the small fish like me, is a 20-cent denomination. So you can actually play a big ticket for a heck of a lot less money. And then, just with regard to the big racing day to guarantee the large pool, in this case is, in excess of $15 million. I couldn't believe that, but it was already a big racing day with the World Cup and everything. So I just think all the ingredients were there where I knew that I had to play, and two, I had to go bigger than normal.
All right, so take me through your handicapping process for the Rainbow Six on last Saturday. Because of your hit, because of your $89,000 score, you enabled Team California to go on to the finals in our TVG State Wars tournament to take on Ohio and Michigan. Take me through your handicapping process. When did you start looking at this pick 6 sequence, and what were your original thoughts going into it?
Well, it's like normal when I play any of those horizontal wagers. I'll just take a peek in the evening and print out the form and spend a good hour, 90 minutes looking at the form, basically until my wife tells me to turn out the light. That allows me to sleep on it. And what I really did on this pick 6 is I tried to focus on or pick out 2 races, and this is what I do in any pick 6. I'll try to find 2 races where I think there's a clear standout, maybe 2 of them. And for me in this one, it was in the 5th leg where you had Harmonize and Lyra, and those were really the only 2 graded stakes place horses running in that overnight stake, and I figured that their class would show up, and lucky for me it did. And then the other race I liked was the favorite, Sir Dudley Diggs, in the 1st leg. And, I just had a feeling, I didn't want to be out after the first race, so I threw in a horse that I thought could be possible to beat him, and lo and behold, that was Mighty Mo, and he gave me the insurance I needed, and, of course, those ran 1-2. Thank God Mighty Mo came in, and so it paid off for me in those 2 races. The second thing that I do is, and I don't want to sound disingenuous on TV or anything, but or like I'm trying to carry a TVG company line, but I always look at the TVG expert picks on their very slim bankrolls. And my theory in doing that is that if a TVG expert includes a horse to win on, say, for example, a $100 ticket, what would the logic in me be taking that horse off as a loser in a much larger bet? So I always, just as a baseline, throw in all the TVG horses. On Saturday, that morning, I was watching the World Cup from Dubai, and I watched Pick 6 Central before it started on TVG, and so I started with the baseline of those horses. And then from there, I knew I could go deep in the other 4 races, and so I really took sort of a cynical approach and just threw out horses in the other races that I knew had no shot of winning, and really worked backwards using your tool online in making the bet, so I could watch the value of the bet to really back in to how much I could afford. And so I just eliminated horses really from those remaining races to back into what my bet ultimately was. And I got to tell you, TVG actually helped me with 2 of the races with horses that where they had a consensus on a relatively small bet, and horses I didn't quite like but threw in because of their handicapping.
Well, Robbie, I'm happy for all of us here at TVG that we could provide the minor assist for you. You did all the hard work, but at least we could provide and help out a little bit with the minor assist on the pick six. So let's go. We got some time here. Let's go leg by leg. You've already touched on race number 7. It sounded like you were going to single in race number 7 to start off the pick six with the Mike Maker favorite, and you ended up throwing on the 10 in Mighty Mo at 3-1. So you're 1 for 1 in race number 7 already with the horse that you threw on. Race number 8, for me, I thought that was just an absolute spread race. How deep did you go in race number 8? And if you don't mind me asking, how big of a pick six ticket did you play?
Well, so it was a big ticket. In the other 4 races, I told you we had the 2 where were light, and the other 4 we went rather deep. And so I was in over $3,000 on my ticket. That's, you do the math there. That's what is that?
It's a lot of combinations.
Well, you do the math. That's a lot of combinations. But in the second race, I was, or the second leg, 8th race, and I don't have the form in front of me. Just kind of going off. It was
the turf sprint.
Yeah.
Deer Dog, the winner.
Yeah, I'm looking at the results here, and this Deer Dog. I recall that the TVG actually was big on this horse. So I went 6 deep, and I was kind of on the fence on that horse. And I got to tell you, that was the last horse I included in that race. I did like some of the angles. But I noticed that in just about every TVG ticket, which is relatively light, every single expert had that horse picked, and so there was no way I was going to throw him out on that basis.
All right, so you're 2 for 2 after Deer Dog gets up on the fence in the turf sprint. For me, in this sequence, for the ticket that we played, I thought the lone dirt race was probably one of the toughest. It was race number 9. It was a 12-5 maiden claimer going 7/8 on the main track. How deep did you go in race number 9?
We were 7 horses deep in this race, so you can tell, we took, it was a pretty generous ticket, and we went deep where we had to after the 2 thin races. And actually, this long shot, Rose's Dancer, I was pretty high on that horse. I liked the fact that it did know how to pass horses. It did know how to close a little bit, seemed to be a little bit inconsistent, and just had a good feeling that this horse would show up today. None of the horses were complete standouts, and if there was one race where I felt like there was a vulnerable favorite, this was it. And I pretty much believed that the long shots had a better chance of coming in here than the favorites did, so that worked out for me. Yeah,
it worked out perfect for you with those long shots because you got 14-1 in the end on Rose's Dancer.
Yeah, it was 20-1.
Yeah.
20-1 morning line. So
20-1 on the line. Yeah, it goes off at 14-1. All right, so you're sitting 3 for 3 now in this Rainbow Six on Saturday. Race 10, they go back to the turf course, and you got Bibbo for Bill Mott, who made it 2 in a row.
Yeah, this race was another one where, you might think it's a lack of handicapping, but we went 8 deep, and, again, this was a TVG horse where everybody seemed to be pretty high on him. Handicapped him. I liked him. I thought it was, he was ranked at least in the top 3 in our bet, and certainly had him included. So by this time, we were feeling very good where we were sitting.
Yeah, I bet, especially since you got those prices in back-to-back races going 14-1 to 8-1 with the Bill Mott horse, and we just took a look at right there. We already covered the feature race, race number 11, which was a $75,000 stakes event for 3-year-old fillies on the turf course, and you said you narrowed it down to 2 horses already. You get Harmonize off the layoff at 2-1 in your second choice, defeating Lyra, who did go off as your 9-5 favorite. So you're 5 for 5. In this Rainbow,
those are world-class horses. Really.
Yeah.
So that was the easy one.
So you're 5 for 5 in this Rainbow Six. What was it like in that 30-minute span, knowing that you're alive going into this last leg? What was it like for that 30 minutes in between races for you?
Well, I was feeling very confident. I figured that I was going to win. I just didn't know how much. And it's rare. This is the one time, lo and behold, I couldn't pick out the payouts of what the pick six was paying out. So I was looking at the pick fives, and my mouth was definitely getting wet. I got to be honest with you. My wife, I talked my wife into going to Easter Sunday church early on Saturday so I could watch the Oklahoma game. Mm-hmm. And so I literally watched the 10th and 11th and the 12th race sitting in church on my phone. She was not happy about that. I think I was in the right place to be watching a race, sitting in the church and sneaking and watching it on the telephone. But I felt very confident that we had a winner. We were a good 7 horses deep in that last race. Believe it or not, we did not have the morning line favorite or the second pick. Just did not feel comfortable at all with the fact they just looked like they were doing new things. I don't have it in front of me, but I think the morning line favorite was a dirt horse, moving the turf, and so we threw him out. And I just was really sort of confident that we were going to win this. I didn't feel lucky. I just felt confident.
So I was going to ask you your reaction to hitting the pick 6, Robbie, but because you're in church, you had no reaction. You watched the last race, and you were actually still in church on that Saturday?
Yeah, the last race, church had just ended, so we were out in the parking lot. But yeah, there was a reaction. I was darn happy. Now my wife, she's heard she's heard it once. She's heard it 1,000 times. Hey, I'm alive in the pick 4, the pick 5. Here are the payouts, and she's no longer interested. She probably thinks I'm BSing half the time, but it was a real hit. One of the larger hits I've had. I've had a few of them. Particularly, I love the pick 5s at Del Mar, and we go pretty deep on those to get those payouts from time to time. But this was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun throughout the day.
Well, Robbie, your work certainly paid off. Over $89,000 in that Rainbow 6. And as I mentioned, because you hit that Rainbow 6 at Gulfstream Park on Saturday, that allowed Team California to go on to the final and take on Ohio and Michigan in our TVG State Wars tournament. So, Robbie, appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us here on TVG. Congratulations on that big hit over the weekend, and good luck in the State Wars final.
Obviously, the pleasure's all mine.
All right. Appreciate it, Robbie. Robbie Rosette, representing Team California. And very cool that he went to the TVG website using some consensus picks. And as I mentioned, Robbie did the heavy lifting for the most part, but always nice that when somebody tells you a story like that and they use some of your picks that we put a lot of hard work into. So glad we could help out Robbie a little bit. Nice to have the assist, but certainly a very cool story as we enter this 4th and final week of our TVG State Wars tournament.
Bet anywhere with TVG.